It's time for the final game of 1990. It's been a long road through the Famicom's busiest year of releases, but we finally made it. So what game closes out this big year? Well, it's Bakushou, Ai no Gekijou. And I'm going to tell you right now that the title and packaging are the best known things about this game. The reason for that is Coconuts Japan intentionally designed it to look just like a game in Taito's Bakushou Jinsei Gekijou series. So it's mainly remembered for fooling people into purchasing it. Just like Taito's series, Ai no Gekijou is a roll and move board game similar to Sugorok, the Japanese board game where players move along a track and a random event occurs to them every turn. In Ai no Gekijou, that track is a calendar, and it's representing the first 2 years of junior college. On every turn, a random date in the next 3 weeks is selected, and players advance to that point in time. And every day has its own event. There are certain days where you will be forced to stop, such as major holidays and exams. At the start of the game, you first select if you're going to be playing as a woman or a man. Then you draw cards to determine who your parents are, and your character's features will be a combination of those two. Your parents also affect how much income you get. You get an allowance at the start of every month, though you can go into debt as well. In fact, there's several events with really severe financial penalties. Very early in the game, I got hit with an operation, and because my parents didn't have much money, I never dug myself out of the hole. Finding a part-time job is a random event as well, and so you can just miss it. A lot of the events involve you going on a date with one of 4 people, and yeah, obviously there's no same-sex couples here. You'll sometimes be given choices on these dates, and if you choose correctly, you'll get a heart with that person. If you choose the wrong thing, and your hearts are relatively low, then there's a chance you'll get a mini-game. Here you can try to salvage your relationship by shooting apologies, or you could engage in a tug-of-war with another player for that person's affections. For the tug-of-war, you have to alternate A and B very rapidly. The thing is, it's possible to build up a relationship so fast that you never get the mini-games. I saw it once with the first relationship that I did, and then my second relationship got over 15 hearts almost immediately, and so I never triggered a minigame. There are 3 types of exams you could encounter. In the first test, you have to arrange the Japanese syllabary that's been scrambled, basically putting all of the characters in order. Another involves you doing some simple 2-digit arithmetic, and the third involves you jumping back and forth quickly. You do that by mashing left and right on the D-pad. You do one of these exams at the start to determine which school you're going to, and it sets your default stats. The stats along the top of the screen correspond to intelligence, kindness, and health. And along the top you have your finances, as well as how many credits you've earned in college. The game plays out very slowly. It'll take about 2 hours to get through those 2 years. At the end of the game, you're scored based on how much money you have, or lose points based on how much in debt you are, and then get points for how many hearts you've accumulated across all relationships. And then that's it. That's the end. While a lot of the events presented in the game are goofy, I feel like they're not really presented in a way that is amusing. It's always the same few static screens. So if someone gets a job as a gamer, for example, it's still the same shot of a building. Or when you wreck your relationship by farting on your partner. Or when you poop your pants on your way to school. Yeah, there's a lot of scatological humor in this game. In fact, that's one of the more common complaints here. A lot of the events are crude, and most of the events in the game are negative. That results in a situation where which parents you have and how you do on the initial test are pretty much the only things that matter for the course of the game. Bakushou Ai no Gekijou is not well regarded in Japan. Even people who like this kind of game seem to find it off-putting. And for my own view, well, I really dislike this kind of game. A board game whose outcome is effectively random isn't really a fun board game to me. And even by the standards of the Sugorok-based games on the Famicom, Ai no Gekijou is bland. There should be something new and wacky happening constantly, but the distinctive and creative events are pretty few and far between. Instead, it's just you getting penalized a lot. I'd rather play Taito's games than this one.